Chapter 1289. The mercenaries stared blankly at Yi Qinghan. Although there were quite a few supreme gods, there weren't many of them. A large city would have at most one or two supreme gods. Even a superpower like the divine sect would only have a few dozen of them. It was absolutely shocking to meet one in the wilderness. The Reverence Moon Grand Duke stood rooted to the ground, dumbfounded. After a long time, he knelt down and begged, "Senior, please help this junior. As long as you say the word, we won't have to leave our homes." Yi Qinghan shook his head. "Survival of the fittest. Leaving your homes may not be a bad thing. Perhaps it will allow your family to rise again. My help will only harm you." It was obvious that Yi Qinghan wouldn't waste his time warning a small family. Looking at Yi Qinghan's cold eyes, Grand Duke Moonpraying knew that Yi Qinghan didn't want to meddle in the affairs of the mortal world. The group rested by the bonfire for the night. Their faces were red from the heat, and they felt a little pain. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged by the bonfire and secretly sent a message to his avatar in the Great Wasteland domain. He had Yen Yunbei transferred over and prepared to train assassins to replace Hell and Heaven. This organization will be called the World of Assassins. Yi Qinghan's eyes gradually opened. He looked at the starry sky, and the determination in his eyes grew stronger. Speaking of assassins, Yi Qinghan couldn't help but frown. That day, when they were ambushed in the Holy City, that organization had hidden itself well. It was most likely an assassin organization organized by some big shot, and that big shot's background was definitely terrifying. It could be a branch of the two major assassin organizations. It could also be an assassin organization controlled by a financial group. It could even be controlled by the imperial family. However, the chances of that were slim. If they wanted to kill Yi Qinghan, they didn't need to sacrifice two princes. Could it be someone from a financial group? Yi Qinghan thought to himself. He naturally wanted to find out more about this. The sky gradually brightened. Yi Qinghan was resting with his eyes closed. Tong Tong and Little Tong had already gotten up and ran to his side. "Daddy, Daddy, when will we reach our destination?" Tong Tong shook Yi Qinghan's arm and asked. "The soonest is 5 days. I will pay them to speed up," Yi Qinghan said softly without opening his eyes. The sixth prince was woken up by the noise. His entire body was sore after a day of galloping, and it was impossible for him to continue his journey. He looked pitifully at Yi Qinghan and said, "Sir, I can't take it anymore. All right, I got it." Yi Qinghan opened his eyes and said to Tong Tong, "Tong Tong, protect Little Tong and His Highness. I will go and catch some birds so that we can reach our destination earlier." After speaking, Yi Qinghan transformed into a bolt of lightning and entered the mountain range. He began to wantonly capture powerful flying birds and god beasts. These god beasts and god beasts were intelligent, and in the face of an overgod, they didn't dare to resist. Yi Qinghan continued to sweep across the sky, and before long, he had caught more than 100 huge birds. Carrying a few thousand people would not be a problem. Screech! The birds screeched and swooped down from the mountain range, covering the sky and the sun. Soon, they arrived outside the mercenary camp. "Speed up and show us the way. These birds are your payment," Yi Qinghan said calmly to Captain Gu. Captain Gu was very excited. At least 5 of these birds were at the level of a giant god. They could increase the strength of mercenaries by more than 5 times. At this moment, his hands were trembling slightly. "All of you come up. I need to reach Yangzhou City in the shortest time possible," Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. Screech! Yi Qinghan summoned the god-slaying eagle. When it spread its wings, it was at least 100 meters long. With a gentle flap, it could travel tens of thousands of miles. It was equivalent to half a day's hard work. The birds behind could not catch up with the god-slaying eagle at all. If he didn't need them to show the way, Yi Qinghan would not waste time. After flying for 3 days and 3 nights, a towering and vast city finally appeared in everyone's sight. Yi Qinghan sent Captain Gu to the back of the birds. Then, he brought the 6th prince and the 2 children and quickly rushed to Yangzhou City. Yangzhou City had more than 1,000,000 years of history. It was rumored that it had existed since the Antiquity era. At that time, the 9 worlds had not been completely separated. It was full of vicissitudes and history. Every trace represented the rise and fall of an era. However, Yangzhou City still stood tall. I want my grandfather to send someone to pick me up. I've had enough. Let's go into the city and enjoy ourselves, the sixth prince said frantically. You'll lead the children astray. I don't feel at ease if you go alone, Yi Qinghan rejected. Although Yi Qinghan stopped the sixth prince, he was quite happy. He felt that Yi Qinghan cared about his safety. However, he did not know that he was brought out by Yi Qinghan. If he died outside, it would not be easy to explain. The four of them entered the city. The city seemed to be more lively than the sacred city. There were no restrictions. It was not like the sacred city, where everyone would feel restrained. Most of the people were great deities. There were handsome men and beautiful women. Tong Tong and Xiao Tong looked around. At this moment, they were curious as children. They were interested in everything. Tong Tong and Xiao Tong ran around happily. Finally, they had a child smile. Yi Qinghan looked at the two children running around. He smiled and threw the divine bird out. Follow them. Don't let them suffer, Yi Qinghan said lightly. Okay. The divine bird loved to shop and search for treasures. When it came out, its eyes lit up. Yi Qinghan brought the sixth prince into the downtown area. They found an inn and booked 3 rooms. Your Highness, please inform the people of the God of Wealth City to come and pick us up. We will rest here today. Yi Qinghan finished speaking and went into the room alone to practice his secret technique. The sixth prince was not the kind to comfort people. While Yi Qinghan was in seclusion, he contacted the God of Wealth City and secretly ran out of the inn. He went straight to the fragrance pavilion in Yangzhou City. He was familiar with the place. He had been here twice. If he did not remember the way, he could find it by asking a few people. As soon as he entered the fragrance pavilion, the sixth prince said arrogantly, "Find me 8 of the best women. It would be best if 2 of them were from different races. Give me the best room and a table of the best food." Those who could enter the fragrance pavilion were all people with some status and money. Most of them were high-ranking officials, nobles, and the sons of wealthy merchants. Perhaps everyone in the holy city knew him, but in Yangzhou City, no one knew him. A group of people frowned and looked at the sixth prince with evil smiles. Their eyes were full of ridicule. Where did this arrogant kid come from? It's the first time I've seen him in Yangzhou City. Who knows him? He's probably a bumpkin from some small village. Do you know how many spirit stones it costs to find a good woman in the fragrance pavilion? It's probably what your village earns in a few decades. Haha, this idiot. He's covered in dust. He's gone crazy thinking about women. Everyone laughed in public. Some brothel girls covered their mouths and laughed. With his appearance, he could not even enter the fragrance pavilion. Get lost. Is the fragrance pavilion a place for you to cause trouble? Slap. A few strong young men seemed to want to show off. They slapped the sixth prince in the face and sent him flying. The sixth prince was stunned. This was the first time he had been beaten. Plus, his cultivation was not high. He did not even have a chance to fight back. A few fingerprints appeared on his face and a footprint on his chest. Chapter 1290. The sixth prince could not speak for a long time. He covered his face and looked at the mocking expressions of the crowd. Listening to the unbearable humiliation, his head was buzzing. After a long time, the sixth prince stood up. His face was ferocious as he roared angrily, "You bastards dare to hit me? I am the sixth prince Xue Xian. I will exterminate your entire family." At this moment, the sixth prince was unkempt like a beggar. He did not change his clothes before coming. How could he look like a prince? The fragrance pavilion was silent at first, then burst into laughter. The laughter of the brothel girls was even more sarcastic. Buzzed at Xue Xian's brain turned into paste. His eyes were bloodshot as he looked angrily at the disdain and ridicule of the crowd. His brain was not listening to him and he could not say a word. Haha, this is the funniest joke I've heard today. Sixth prince? He is a relative of our Dongling state. How could he look like a dog? Blaspheming the dignity of a prince and pretending to be a descendant of the royal family. You really have guts. He must be crazy. He actually came here to behave so atrociously. Idiot, if you dare to talk nonsense again, I will kill you. Scram. The group of young people hooted and pointed at the sixth prince arrogantly. The rich were not guilty of murder. If Shui Xian emphasized that he was the sixth prince, this group of people would really kill him. The sixth prince's mouth twitched. He pointed at the crowd and said fiercely, "You wait for me. I will go find Mr. Zhua." This idiot, Marshal Zhua, is an assistant minister. He has a lot of things to do every day. Why would he come here with a prince? How pitiful. We will wait for you here. Go find Marshal Zhua to teach us a lesson. Look, we are so scared. A few of the most mischievous young experts in Yangzhou City could not stop laughing. Their expressions were so wretched that the sixth prince's head was filled with blood. Shui Xian angrily turned and ran towards the inn. He had lost all his face this time. If word got out, how could he fight for the position of prince? Within the inn, Yi Qinghan was still cultivating when he heard a series of banging on the door. He couldn't help but open his eyes and open the door with a wave of his hand. When he saw the palm print on Shui Xian's face and the footprint on his chest, he frowned slightly and asked in a deep voice, "What happened?" "Sir, you must avenge me. I went to Fragrance Pavilion to relax, but as soon as I entered, I was beaten up. I revealed my identity, but not only did they not believe me, they even wanted to kill me. I said that I would ask Mr. for help, but they said that they were not afraid of you, and even said that they were waiting for you." Shui Xian had an aggrieved look and was extremely resentful. Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. Although he was dissatisfied with the sixth prince's disobedience and going out alone, he couldn't let the sixth prince be humiliated. After all, the sixth prince had followed him out. If the news spread to the holy city, the emperor would be furious. No one would benefit from it. "Bring me there. I want to see just how arrogant the people here are," Yi Qinghan said coldly. With Yi Qinghan's protection, Shui Xian's confidence instantly increased. He left the inn with Yi Qinghan and went straight to the Fragrance Pavilion. The people in the Fragrance Pavilion were still discussing the sixth prince. It was as if he had become a laughing stock for them to pass the time. Yi Qinghan quickly arrived at the Fragrance Pavilion under Shui Xian's lead. His tall and straight figure stepped into the pavilion, and his cold aura immediately shocked everyone. However, when the sixth prince appeared behind him, everyone immediately burst into laughter. Haha, this fool really brought someone to pretend to be the Marshal Zhua. Looks like his acting is not bad, and he has some temperament. A young man who had just hit the sixth prince laughed disdainfully. "Who hit His Highness? Come out yourself," Yi Qinghan said coldly. At this moment, a pressure enveloped the entire Fragrance Pavilion. A pair of cold eyes looked down from the roof and stared at Yi Qinghan. He said coldly, "I don't care who you are. Don't cause trouble in the Fragrance Pavilion. This is your first offense." Scram. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and looked at a middle-aged man on the roof. He was an expert at the limit of the giant god level. He was half a step away from the supreme god level. He didn't take it to heart and continued to look at the group of people downstairs. His cold eyes could freeze people's hearts. "It's them. Mr. Zhua, help me kill them. I want to confiscate their houses." Shui Xian pointed at the few young men angrily and roared. "That's right. We hit you. Kid, I think you're tired of living. How dare you behave so atrociously in Yangzhou City? Don't you know who I am?" The leader of the group, a giant god, stood in front of the few young men and said disdainfully, "Our big brother is Zhu Mao, the brother-in-law of the city lord of Yangzhou City. His sister is the most beloved concubine of the city lord. Don't think you're not the sixth prince and the left marshal. Even if you are, you have to yield to us. As the saying goes, a strong dragon cannot suppress a local snake." A young man next to Zhu Mao stood up and said arrogantly, "Slap-boom." Yi Qinghan was as fast as lightning. He reached out and slapped Zhu Mao a few times. Almost at the same time, he kicked Zhu Mao directly to the ground. "I don't care if you're Zhu Mao or Go Mao. Hitting His Highness is a capital offense. Today, I want to see if the city lord of Yangzhou City dares to bend the law for personal gain. I'll spare your lives." Yi Qinghan raised the corner of his mouth. He was going to take the position of the city lord of Yangzhou City and give it to his own people. Therefore, he didn't kill Zhu Mao and the others. Kid, you're courting death. You really dare to fight in the fragrant pavilion. The big man on the roof directly jumped down and threw a punch at Yi Qinghan. His speed was extremely fast. But this kind of speed was like an ant in Yi Qinghan's eyes. He raised his hand slightly and slapped the big man's face. He threw him down from the sky. Slap. The sound of the slap resounded throughout the fragrant pavilion. The big man's face was dripping with blood, as if he had been cut by a knife. The pain was unbearable. However, this slap left everyone in the fragrance pavilion dumbfounded. Only a supreme god would be able to knock down the fragrance pavilion's expert with a single slap. You dare to slap me? You wait for me. Call someone here. The big man was a little dizzy. He knew that Yi Qinghan was a supreme god, but he couldn't tell that the person he was protecting was really the sixth prince. He directly ordered people to call the city lord to take revenge. Whoosh! A rocket exploded in the sky. It was at least 1,000 meters high. The whole of Yangzhou City could see it. Yangzhou City was just the territory of the god of fortune. Whether it was the city lord or anyone else, they were all the servants of the god of fortune. They were of the same breath and branch. When the fragrant pavilion asked for help, the city lord's residence would naturally be the first to arrive. The sweet fragrance pavilion was an important place. The god of wealth city had always been guarded by powerhouses. Even a powerhouse at the limit of the giant god level had been defeated. The city lord of Yangzhou City had personally led the city guards and rushed over from all directions, surrounding the sweet fragrance pavilion tightly. Yi Qinghan brought the sixth prince out of the fragrant pavilion. He smiled evilly at a fat supreme god. He must be the city lord of Yangzhou City. This person was just a servant of the god of fortune. He didn't even know the sixth prince, let alone Yi Qinghan, who had just appeared. You dare to behave atrociously in my Yangzhou City? You don't want to live anymore. Come, take him down. If he dares to resist, kill him. The fat city lord said angrily. Chapter 1291. The fat city lord waved his hand, wanting to arrest Yi Qinghan and the sixth prince without asking. The sixth prince flew into a rage. You bastard, you dare to arrest this prince without asking for the reason. Be careful, I'll take your head. Boom. Zhu Mao rushed out of the fragrance pavilion with a few youths, his face swollen. Seeing that the city lord Zhu Yonyan had arrived, he immediately became confident and shouted, Brother-in-law, these two bastards pretended to be a prince and left martial. They didn't even put you in their eyes, beating us and the elder of the fragrance pavilion. You have to help us. How dare you? This is Yangzhou City, not the sacred city. Even if you are real, you still have to give me face, Zhu Yonyan said proudly. Is that so? Then, if this is really a prince, then being beaten by these people is a waste? Yi Qinghan asked calmly. Then what do you want? Zhu Yonyan asked disdainfully. Clap, clap. Yi Qinghan clapped his hands and sighed. Amazing, you really are an overlord. You don't even put a prince in your eyes. I wonder if I, the left marshal, am also worthless here? Yi Qinghan then flashed a gold medallion. It was the gold medallion bestowed by the emperor himself, the Imperial Guard Commander medallion. On it was engraved the word, ban, as if it could kill all laws. The fragrance pavilion fell into a dead silence. Gulp. Zhu Yonyan swallowed his saliva. This medallion couldn't be forged, and no one dared to forge one. It was enough to see that this person was the legendary left marshal. And the one beside him was really a prince. Zhu Mao and the group of youths were stunned. They didn't think that they had really slapped a prince, and even kicked him. The peak giant god in the fragrance pavilion trembled. If Xue Xian was really the sixth prince, then the one who should be angry wasn't the left marshal, but the boss of the god of Fortune City. Fragrance Pavilion Elder Wang Zi greets your highness, greets the left marshal. I had eyes but didn't recognize Mount Tai, please forgive me. The big man was beaten, but he had no choice but to kneel and beg for forgiveness. You bastard, you didn't even let out a fart when you saw me being beaten. What's the use of having you? Get lost. When I see my grandfather, I'll definitely skin all of you alive. Boom. The The sixth prince lifted his leg and kicked Wang Zi to the ground, but he didn't even dare to resist for fear of injuring the sixth prince. Your Highness, please don't be angry. I really didn't know you were the sixth highness. Otherwise, I wouldn't have allowed anyone to hurt you. Wang Zi got up and knelt down respectfully again. If Mr. Zhou hadn't taken out the Zhou martial token, would you have killed me? You don't even put the imperial family in your eyes. Kneel. Xue Xian roared. Yi Qinghan shook his head. There was no point in getting angry at this time. The most important thing was to take the position of Yangzhou City's castellan. Yangzhou City's castellan, Zhu Yaoyan, has no regard for the law. He doesn't respect the imperial family. He is corrupt and he is harboring his own people. I, as the assistant minister, order you to arrest him and wait for punishment. Yi Qinghan coldly looked at the city guards and coldly ordered. The city guards trembled with fear. They didn't dare to go against Yi Qinghan's will, but they also didn't dare to arrest the castellan. What? My orders are invalid to you? Whoever doesn't take action today will be punished like Zhu Yaoyan. Yi Qinghan stomped his foot and a strong qi rushed up from the ground and hit Zhu Yaoyan's chest, sending him flying and suppressing his spiritual space. Boom! A large group of city guards rushed toward Zhu Yaoyan, but Zhu Yaoyan also had his own loyal guards. The two sides immediately started fighting. For a moment, the streets were filled with blood. The guards were the castellan's death warriors. Their fighting strength was definitely much stronger than the ordinary city guards. For a moment, it was hard to tell who would win. Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes as he watched the fight. He waved his hand and grabbed some leaves. With a flick of his finger, the leaves shattered the void and directly pierced through the heads of the guards. A single leaf could kill a giant god. The death warriors were all wiped out. Left Marshal, spare us. Your Highness, spare us. This lowly one has eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Sirs, please be magnanimous and spare us. Zhu Mao and the others quickly kowtowed and begged for mercy. The sixth prince's anger hadn't dissipated yet. When he saw these people, he immediately started beating them up. He ruthlessly kicked a few youths. After beating them for a long time, he became tired. Yi Qinghan shook his head. This kind of prince was very easy to trick. It was really difficult for him to take on a big responsibility. Only his relatives were a bit more powerful. Men, arrest these trash and throw them into the prison. Heavily guarded. If they escape, you will be questioned. Yi Qinghan angrily reprimanded. Thus, left Marshal. Although the city guard commander was afraid at this moment, he was even more excited. At this time, he could directly face Yi Qinghan and the sixth prince. The target of his loyalty had changed. Perhaps he could achieve a glorious rise. Summon everyone in Yangzhou City to gather outside the city gates. This marshal wants to re-establish the position of city lord. Regardless of cultivation, only moral character. The world will choose the city lord. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. As left marshal orders. The city guard commander ordered a group of people to take city lord Zhu Yaoyan to the prison. In addition, he mobilized a large number of city guards to inform everyone in the city to gather outside the city. The city lord selection didn't care about cultivation, only moral character. A good city lord represented that the entire city's people would benefit. Everyone put down the work in their hands and wanted to elect the person in their hearts to be the city lord. The commoners all had their own scales in their hearts. Whoever was thinking for the commoners would be supported. Some respected old rich people had their own ideas. Their wealth had reached the peak and they wanted to fight for the title of city lord. If they became the city lord, they would definitely be conferred a title by the prince or his majesty. In the future, their family would have a guarantee. Outside Yangzhou City, there was a sea of people. It was a boiling cauldron of voices. Everyone was discussing spiritedly, hoping to jointly elect a person of virtue and prestige to be the city lord. Yi Qinghan released his divine sense and found Tong Tong and Xiao Tong in the crowd. He brought them out and returned to the city walls of Yangzhou City. He looked down at everyone and said in a deep voice, I am the commander of the Imperial Guards, Assistant Ministers Wufeng. This person beside me is His Highness the Sixth Prince. Therefore, unless His Majesty personally rejects the election, it is absolutely valid. You all should boldly participate in the election and choose the city lord you like the most. Or those who want to participate can go to the city walls to solicit votes. As long as everyone likes it, this marshal and His Highness will naturally support it. Many thanks, Left Marshal. This commoner is willing to serve Yangzhou City and pledge loyalty to His Highness and Left Marshal. A large man rushed out. His cultivation was also at the peak of the giant god level. He was the leader of a mercenary group and had a lot of prestige in the city. The moment he appeared, he was recognized. It's Ling Zhen. He has a sense of justice and often helps us. The commoners discussed spiritedly. Yi Qinghan heard this and saw it in his eyes. This person was very suitable to be the city lord. The most important thing was that once he chose to be loyal, he wouldn't have any misgivings like those family heads. He wouldn't hesitate between God of Wealth City and himself and be a fence-sitter. Chapter 1292. As expected, Ling Zhen's voice was very loud. Most importantly, he was also very strong. He often helped the commoners in the city and often went against the big powers. Therefore, everyone loved and respected him. There were also some rich people who had a very high voice. They were kind and charitable and were praised by the commoners. They were pushed to the forefront. The three old men were extremely wealthy and were loved and respected by the commoners. At this moment, their faces were flushed red. Facing the prince and the Left Marshal, they were even more excited. That kind of glory made the rich people in the city envious. Wang Zhong, Li Quan, and Murong Ling, the three old men, all came from large families. They had a good reputation among the commoners. Even if there were a few playboys, they would still be punished by the three old men. Their efforts had finally paid off. The three old men, your efforts have been seen by the commoners. I am also very gratified. Naturally, the sixth prince is also very gratified. However, to become a city lord, the most important thing is talent. I will only ask you one question. Whoever answers the question best will become the city lord. The others can be conferred nobility and assist the city lord in taking care of the commoners. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. We will follow the Left Marshal's teachings. Ling Zhen and the others looked at Yi Qinghan excitedly and expectantly. If you are the city lord, who will you be loyal to? Once you have thought about it, write it down for me. Yi Qinghan calmly asked. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the four of them fell into deep thought. The ink, paper, and inkstone were all delivered to the four of them. Yi Qinghan and the sixth prince were very expectant. They wanted to know what their answers would be. Swish, swish, swish. The four of them wrote down their allegiance. Li Quan and Wang Zhong, the two old men, chose to be loyal to the imperial family. Murong Ling chose to be loyal to the Left Marshal. Ling Zhen chose to be loyal to the Left Marshal and the commoners. Yi Qinghan glanced at the parchment and crushed it into pieces. The pieces dissipated in the air. Even the sixth prince did not see what they wrote. The answer that Ling Zhen chose was the people, to be loyal to the people. I'm very pleased, and I'm sure the people who elected them will be very happy as well. Therefore, he will be the city lord, and the three old men will be the Yangzhou city's prefectural secretary, the 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 prefectural secretary, and the prefectural secretary of education. They are all second-rank marquises. The sixth prince smiled. Of course, he would not object to Yi Qinghan's intentions. This guy enjoyed life quite well. He arrogantly claimed that he was number one and that the other princes could not compare to him. If he did not control himself well, he would definitely be a dandy. Ling Zhen and the others knelt down to express their gratitude. Although the prince could not give them official titles yet, when they reached the God of Wealth City, they would naturally be granted full titles. These people would have the status of officials. I hope you won't forget your original intentions. If you treat the people well, they will recommend you. If you don't treat them well, they will naturally drag you down from your position. Yi Qinghan looked down at the four of them and warned coldly. We will follow Marshal's instructions. Ling Zhen and the others said excitedly. Soon, Yi Qinghan brought the four of them into the mayor's residence and received their official seals. He reminded them, "You are new officials. If you want to appease the people, it will be up to you." The three rich men knew how to conduct themselves. They promised to improve the lives of the poor people on the spot. They would help them build houses and provide them with jobs. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and decided to open a genius academy in all the cities under his control. It would be good to win people's hearts and cultivate some elites. Yi Qinghan told them about his idea and promised that the young disciples of the three rich men's families would have priority. He would provide the three families with top-grade divine arts and secret techniques. The three old men naturally raised their hands in agreement. After the Genius Academy was built, they would be elders. The power of the academy could protect their families. As rich men, what they lacked the most was a sense of security. Their wealth was enough to last them a lifetime, but they could lose their heads at any time. Although Ling Zhen was an uncouth man, he was the smartest. He knew that as long as he followed Yi Qinghan, the mayor's position might be higher than the other mayors. The people of the God of Fortune City would have to give him face. The matters in Yangzhou City were more or less settled. Finally, an expert from the God of Fortune City rushed over. It was a young man. He was very strong and handsome. There was a hint of arrogance and evil on his face. His cultivation was unfathomable. Yi Qinghan looked at him. If he didn't use the sector lord's divine sense, he couldn't see through his true cultivation. The sixth prince didn't have time to change his clothes. His clothes were tattered and there were still footprints on his body. When he saw the young man, he immediately rushed over and almost cried. "Cousin, you are finally here. I didn't expect to be bullied like this in the Dongling state." The sixth prince was filled with anger and grievance. That young man's fingertips touched the sixth prince's forehead. His handsome face revealed a 3% evil smile, 5% anger, and 2% suspicion. He asked curiously, "You are little six? Who beat you up like this? Tell me, I will kill him." "You still dare to talk? Wasn't it your family's servant?" The city lord of Yangzhou City allowed his brother-in-law to do this. He even said that even if it was me, he would beat him up without hesitation. He said that a strong dragon can't suppress a snake in its own territory. I didn't provoke them. If it wasn't for Mr. Zhuishuai's protection, I would have been beaten to death. The sixth prince said angrily. Yi Qinghan looked at the two cousins indifferently. One was evil and unfathomable. The other was a brainless prince who only knew how to enjoy life. If their identities were reversed, this sixth prince's cousin was more like a prince who understood the emperor's arts. When the young man heard the sixth prince mention Zhuishuai, he immediately turned to Yi Qinghan and said in surprise, "I thought Zhuishuai was a burly man. I didn't expect you to be so cultured and refined. You are more like a gentleman. Sorry for the disrespect. Mister, let me introduce you. This is the young master of the #1 financial group. He is my cousin Wang Longtao. People call him Young Master Tao. In Dongling State, he is someone who can cover the sky with one hand." The sixth prince quickly introduced. "Young Master Tao, this is the famous Zhuishuai, an assistant minister. He is young and handsome, but his strength is not something we can imagine. In Sheng City, he is extremely powerful. If I become the crown prince in the future, Mr. will definitely help me the most." The sixth prince said with a smile. "Greetings, Lord Assistant Minister. I was rude just now." Wang Longtao bowed slightly and cupped his fist. "Young Master Tao, this is Dongling State, not Sheng City. In Jianghu, you should treat me like a Jianghu person. You can call me Zhuifeng." Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Lord is straightforward. I was really afraid of meeting a high official of Sheng City who uses his authority to intimidate me. You are really to my taste. I will call you Mister. You can call me Young Master Tao or Little Tao. It is fine. I don't like to be restrained." Wang Longtao laughed heartily. Wang Longtao was very strong. He also realized that Yi Qinghan was unfathomable. Someone who could play around with a high official of Sheng City and become an assistant minister was definitely someone with great wisdom. It was not wrong to call him Mr. Chapter 1293. Yi Qinghan nodded slightly. He also thought highly of this young Master Tao. Although Wang Longtao looked like a forthright person, he was definitely not one of the princes. At the very least, he was comparable to the fourth prince. In fact, he might even surpass him. After all, Wang Longtao was the future leader of a consortium. If he wasn't a scheming person, he wouldn't have the qualifications or the ability to control a consortium. Wang Longtao had a square face and was full of heroic spirit. His thin lips made him look very young. His skin was even better than a woman's. It was as white as snow and as soft as water. His height was about the same as Yi Qinghan's. If he dressed up, he should be able to instantly kill most women. "Sir, I came in a hurry this time, so I don't have anything to give you. This Jade Qilin divine medicine is for you. I hope you won't reject it." Wang Longtao was very generous. He took out a sparkling and translucent Jade Qilin plant. It was filled with the profound laws, which shocked Yi Qinghan. This divine medicine was definitely a supreme treasure. It might not be as valuable as the supreme snow lotus, but to a cultivator, this thing could revive the dead and regrow flesh and bones. This. Yi Qinghan hesitated. He was about to reject when Wang Longtao interrupted him. "Sir, if you don't accept it, you're not giving me face. You're definitely looking down on me. If I need your help in the future, I'll definitely take the initiative to ask you. If you don't agree, I'll sit here and not leave." Wang Longtao immediately put on a serious face and pretended to be angry. This Jade Qilin was filled with powerful vitality. It had a certain effect on Tong Tong's death aura. If it worked well, that boundary bone could completely merge into his body. It would be very useful in the future. Yi Qinghan smiled and reached out to take it. He cupped his fists and said, "Then thank you, young Master Tao. Let's pack up and go to God of Wealth City. Grandpa knew you were coming, so he asked me to personally welcome you. If he knew you were coming, he would probably come personally." After Wang Longtao finished speaking, he comforted the sixth prince. "Lil, 6, you are still being humiliated in Dongling State. You are not the only one being humiliated. Our God of Fortune City is also being humiliated. I will help you deal with Zhu Yonyan, this bastard. Don't worry, he was already executed by Mr. and I have already conferred the title of Master of Yangzhou City. Grandfather, you won't think that I am meddling in other people's business, right?" The sixth prince was very unhappy and mocked. If Grandpa knew that you were humiliated and beaten up in Yangzhou City, he would definitely be very angry. "I will tell Grandpa the truth about this matter," Wang Longtao quickly said. "Then let's go straight back to God of Wealth City. There's nothing to pack." Yi Qinghan calmly summoned Tong Tong and Xiao Tong and prepared to leave. The sixth prince did not want to go to the God of Wealth City in such an embarrassing manner. He quickly ran into his room to wash and change his clothes. Only then did the group teleport directly to the God of Wealth City's territory through the coordinates. The God of Fortune City was the most bustling and lively place. This was the capital of the Dongling State. Compared to the Holy City, it was in no way inferior. Spiritual energy pervaded the air, and the spiritual essence was particularly lively. A gust of wind blew past, and there was actually a fishy smell of the sea. Further east of the God of Fortune City was the endless ocean. Humans rarely went there. It was said that the strong creatures in the ocean did not lose to humans, but they also did not step into human territory. Villages covered large plains, and the mountains in the distance reached into the clouds. Many villages grew spiritual medicine, and children played at the village entrance. The group quickly approached the God of Fortune City. The God of Fortune City was more profound than Yangzhou City, and it did not feel luxurious at all. This might be the foundation of the God of Fortune City. From afar, it looked like an old man with endless history, engraved with stories from one era after another. At the city gate, a large number of financial groups and rich people spontaneously welcomed the sixth prince at the city gate. They were all subordinate forces of the God of Fortune City. They had a lot of money, and their ability to speculate was definitely the best in the world. They were all scheming people, and their use of power might be even better than some officials. Wang Longtao probably did not know how many rich people there were in the God of Fortune City. This was the only city that did not have slums. Even a beggar would probably have a lot of wealth. This city had very strict control over outsiders. If they could not find out their origins, they would not even have the chance to enter the city. Even if their origins were clear, there was a limit to how long they could stay in the city, unless they could buy a piece of land and completely settle down. However, every inch of land in the God of Fortune City was worth an inch of gold. Even a large family might not be able to buy a piece of land to build a house. The cost was too high. Looking at the tens of thousands of people welcoming him, the sixth prince had already forgotten about being beaten up. He raised his head and puffed out his chest, feeling very smug. If the divine bird did not give him face, it would have mocked him a long time ago. "Greetings, sixth prince." Everyone shouted. The people waved the snow flag and shouted excitedly. "Ah, no need to be restrained. This is my second home." The sixth prince laughed loudly. Every time he came to the God of Fortune City, he would return with a full load. There were countless people who gave him treasures. Everyone wanted to establish a relationship with him. As long as they had this relationship, they could do well in the God of Fortune City. Inform the Wang family that Mr. Zhu Shuai has also come. Have them prepare to welcome him, Wang Longtao said to the guard beside him. "What? Mr. Zhu Shuai has also come?" The eyes of the people at the city gate lit up. They stared at Yi Qinghan, who was holding a child in each hand. Only his temperament suited the Zhu Shuai the most. However, they did not expect the dignified Zhu Shuai to be so cold. He was actually holding two children. Didn't they say that Mr. Zhu Shuai was all alone? Why did two 6- or 7-year-old children suddenly appear? How many women's hearts will be broken by this? What nonsense are you talking about? Maybe Mr. Zhu Shuai is very kind and adopted 2 orphans. A group of young people discussed excitedly. It seemed that the legendary Zhu Shuai had become their idol. No matter if it was a man or a woman, there was no jealousy. There was only worship and love. Yi Qinghan's expression was very gentle. He smiled and let go of the 2 children's hands. He bowed and said, "Zhu Shuai greets everyone in the God of Fortune City. Mr. Zhu, we are honored by your presence. Please forgive us for not going out to meet you." Many of the scheming family heads bowed and returned the greeting. Their eyes were filled with excitement. It seemed that wherever Yi Qinghan went, he could steal the limelight. The sixth prince was overshadowed in front of him. However, the sixth prince did not feel embarrassed at all. Instead, he felt that it was normal. If it were someone else who stole his limelight, he would not have been able to hold back his anger. In his subconscious mind, the Zhu Shuai should be so arrogant. This kind of submission that came from the bones could not be changed. "Let's enter the city. There is no need to be so grand," Yi Qinghan said with a smile. Wang Longtao nodded. He was very powerful. Although he was young, as the young master of the world's #1 financial group, his prestige in the God of Fortune City was much stronger than the 6th princes in the Holy City. "Let's all enter the city. After I have settled the 6th prince and Mr. Zhu Shuai, I will treat everyone to a banquet to welcome them. Everyone, please wait for my invitation," Wang Longtao said lightly. Chapter 1294. Yi Qinghan brought the 2 children. The divine bird stood valiantly on his shoulder, drooling as if it saw treasures everywhere. This sacred place is my hometown. This city is filled with history. It is the taste I yearn for. It nourishes my soul and elevates my taste. Oh, the divine bird looked intoxicated. It was extremely despicable. Good poem. Good poem. I didn't expect Sir's spirit pets to be so talented. When the 6th prince flattered Yi Qinghan staggered and almost fell. "So wretched." Tong Tong snickered. "It's a good poem. How can you say it's wretched?" Little Tong didn't understand. Her innocent eyes looked at the divine bird with admiration. "Kikik, only His Highness and this little girl know how to appreciate. You don't understand the loneliness in the divine bird's heart. I won't lower myself to your level." The divine bird saw that people were appreciating it and was instantly disoriented. "It's really good. I quite like it." Wang Longtao looked at the divine bird. He obviously didn't understand it and said with admiration, "Good poem, it's really a good poem." Why didn't I think of such words to describe the great god of wealth city? The passers-by were full of praise, but they didn't know what the divine bird was trying to say. If they knew what it really meant, they would definitely hold onto their treasures and not let go. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and snorted a few times. He was too lazy to explain. Since Wang Longtao and the people of God of Wealth City admired the divine bird and this sentence so much, then he would wait and see. "Ha, you have good taste. I admire you." The divine bird laughed arrogantly. Phew, Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His face was a little red. It was really too embarrassing. This wretched bird, if you gave it some color, it could open a dye house. If you gave it a ladder, it could climb to the sky. It didn't know how to keep a low profile at all. "I'm in the mood for poetry. I'm going to compose a few poems. All of you, listen up." The divine bird spread its feathers in a mighty manner, but before it could finish its sentence, Yi Qinghan sealed it back into its body. "Ahem, it's just like that. Don't mind it." Yi Qinghan coughed awkwardly and explained helplessly. "Ha, interesting. As expected of a divine bird. I wonder where I can find such a top-grade item. This young master likes it very much," Wang Longtao said seriously. Yi Qinghan felt goosebumps all over his body. If the divine bird followed Wang Longtao, his family's assets would probably all be stolen. And in the end, they still didn't know who did it. A rare breed. There are only 2 of them so far. They are husband and wife. Otherwise, I would have given one to young Master Tao, Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Now, the little money grubber seemed to be leveling up. Perhaps she was pregnant. Until now, she refused to come out and kept sleeping. Otherwise, if these 2 weirdos got together, God of Fortune City would be in for a good show. "Hello, Master Tao, young Master Tao is back." The people on the street all greeted Wang Longtao. Yi Qinghan saw this and his evaluation of Wang Longtao became higher and higher. Rich, handsome, talented, strong, and yet so peaceful. He was definitely rare in the world. It was no wonder that the Wang family oversaw God of Fortune City and became the wealthiest family in the world. Countless wealthy people came to pledge their allegiance and cooperate with them. The city was very big. The streets were wide and the buildings were very orderly. They were lined up in rows without any disorder. The streets were very clean and there were people sweeping them every day. There were no stalls on either side of the streets. They were all in shops. The treasures of the world could be found here. Experts were as common as the clouds. Don't underestimate this city. There were probably more experts than the divine sect. Yi Qinghan's consciousness roamed around. In a short time, he discovered that there were close to 30 supreme gods hidden in the city. Almost every powerful family had a supreme god overseeing it. In order to protect their wealth, these corporations treated geniuses as if they were in the palm of their hands. They used resources to nurture a supreme god. It was still possible. Mr. God of Fortune City is the place where many officials and overlords retire. What do you think? Wang Longtao's seemingly calm voice was filled with pride. To be able to control this place, it wasn't something that money could do. It also depended on the family's background. The environment is top-notch and the spiritual essence is lively. It's definitely a holy land for retirement. It's suitable for humans to live in. The Wang family found a place with good feng shui. In the future, I don't want to go to war. Maybe I can build a house by the sea and settle down. Yi Qinghan sighed. Mr. is in such a good mood. If that day comes, I'm willing to accompany you and build a house not far from your house. Wang Longtao smiled. Yi Qinghan smiled but didn't say anything. He followed them all the way into the city. The deeper they went, the more prosperous the city was. The buildings were ancient and full of vicissitudes. In the depths of the endless streets, a large group of elders and experts were rapidly approaching. Haha, this old man didn't know that Mr. Marshallswell was personally escorting his beloved grandson here. Please forgive me for not going out to meet you. A dignified voice resounded through the streets. An old man with a sage-like demeanor led a large group of experts to welcome them with a smile. The old man looked genial, but his bones were filled with divine might and power. Mr. Zhuo, let me introduce you. This is my grandfather, the head of the God of Fortune Financial Group. Wang Longtao hurriedly explained. Chapter 1296. Yi Qinghan said bluntly that he only wanted to copy and carve the beast of heaven and not be tempted by anything else. Wang Zhongjuan couldn't help but smile and say, "Mr. is quite refined. You don't like women or money, only carving. I admire you. If I don't help you, won't the world say I'm stingy? It's not impossible to copy the beast of heaven and earth, but can Mr. agree to a small request of mine?" Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and stared at Wang Zhongjuan. He said indifferently, "If there is anything in this world that Wang family head cannot do, then I can't do it either. No. This is as easy as lifting a finger for you. It will also be good for you." Wang Zhongjuan said indifferently. "Then why don't you say it? If I can do it, I will definitely satisfy you." Yi Qinghan said doubtfully. "Mr. is still single and has not taken a wife. I heard you only have one servant. How can that be? Now that Sir is taking care of 2 children, you need someone to take care of your husband and children. This old man feels a little distressed seeing you working so hard. If Sir doesn't mind, you can choose one of my 2 granddaughters, or marry both of them. These 2 children are my most beloved juniors. When the time comes, the dowry will definitely be a lot. It is their good fortune to be able to marry such a talented person like Sir." Wang Zhongjuan said in a serious voice. Yi Qinghan's eyes twitched. He thought Wang Zhongjuan would ask him to help the 6th prince take the crown prince position. He didn't expect him to marry the 2 most beautiful girls in his family. "Wang family head, please don't joke." Yi Qinghan frowned and said, "I'm not joking. With Mr.'s intelligence, it's not like you can't guess my intentions. The strong working together is the right way. There is no power in the world that can't fall. My Wang family is always prepared for danger. Can't Mr. see the danger?" Wang Zhongjuan asked seriously. "What danger?" Yi Qinghan asked back. "Since you are participating in the battle for the throne, if you fail, as long as you are not a supreme realm master, you will die. Any power can easily kill you. However, if you work with Wang family, even if you fail, God of Wealth City will be your escape route. Isn't that right?" Wang Zhongjuan said confidently. Yi Qinghan was expressionless. He didn't want to retreat like this. He would rather die than live in dishonor. He had absolute confidence that he could make all the super forces in the Snow Empire and the God Realm collapse quickly, including the God of Wealth City, Hell, Heaven, Divine Sect, and some other super forces. However, even if he had this confidence, he couldn't say it out loud. Otherwise, it would be strange if Wang family. The Feather Spirit Robe was one of the 10 supreme divine weapons of the 9 worlds. It was ranked 2nd in the Great Wasteland Tablet and 4th in the Great Wasteland Tablet. Chapter 1297. What does Mr. mean? That imperial edict can't be fake. Since he wants little Ninth to be the crown prince, why does he want to marry Wang family? Does he want to change his mind? Xue Fei paced back and forth in the room. She was very nervous. "Go invite Marshal Xue," Xue Fei said in a low voice. "Yes, Empress." The servant girl quickly left the palace and invited Marshal Xue. As an assistant minister, Marshal Xue immediately rushed back to the Holy City after escorting Yi Qinghan back to the Snow Border Army. When he learned that Yi Qinghan was going to marry into the Wang clan, he was very confused. He didn't know what he was planning. "Marshal Xue, are you going to attend Marshal Xue's wedding?" Xue Fei looked at Marshal Xue and asked. "I'm going. The invitation has already been sent," Marshal Xue said in a low voice. "I also want to go, but His Majesty is in seclusion. Marshal Xue, please think of a way." Xue Fei quickly said. Marshal Xue was silent for a long time. He didn't want to offend her. After all, Yi Qinghan still wanted to protect 9th Prince. He nodded and said, "We'll leave the day after tomorrow. Royal sister-in-law, get ready. I'll come pick you up the day after tomorrow." Divine Sect. Right now, the atmosphere was ice cold. The Lord God's breathing was a bit rushed. He took a few deep breaths. Now that the words Marshal Xue were mentioned, he was furious. In just 2 short months, he had a lot of white hair. Find Mr. Ling Yen quickly. Contact hell and heaven. I want Swafeng's wedding to become a funeral. I want to take back the realm bone and snow lotus. I can bear any price. Even if I have to break off relations with God of Fortune City, I won't hesitate. Lord God roared. Yes, Lord God. The black-clothed man quickly left to carry out Lord God's orders. Yi Qinghan was currently touching the sculpture. He could clearly see every grain. For 3 days, people were staring at him, but they couldn't see what he was doing. 3 days later, Yi Qinghan took out a very hard stone and started to slowly carve and polish it. He wanted to imitate the desolate sky god beast sculpture. Actually, it wasn't an imitation because the one in front of him was also made by him. Even if he made another one, it would still be the real thing, just a little newer. Sculpting was the most boring thing to do. After sculpting for several days and repeating the same thing over and over again, Wang Zhongjuan lost interest. He only had a few servants keep an eye on Yi Qinghan's courtyard, but no one dared to disturb him. It was not until half a month later that Yi Qinghan began to observe the sculpture of the heaven-desolate beast again. His consciousness slowly penetrated the sculpture and entered the inner space. In the empty space, there was a black robe floating in the air. It was like chaos and emitted the laws of the great Tao. It was as though it was alive and had its own soul. The magical laws of time flowed madly, and in the blink of an eye, they seemed to be 100 years old. Bush, 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 bush. Yi Qinghan waved the carving knife in his hand, and the completed statue was quickly perfected. It was just like the statue from before, without the slightest flaw. Bush. Yi Qinghan quickly activated the profound mysteries of time. The flow of time in the courtyard was unimaginable. It was as though the cycle of reincarnation had appeared, and the myriad laws wailed. Strange phenomena appeared in the sky, and the tame desolation godbeast's divinity appeared. In the name of the great desolation's father, I bestow you new life. Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. The tame desolation godbeast seemed to want to soar into the sky. It was no longer a statue, but a real tame desolation godbeast that wanted to soar into the sky. Bang, bang, bang. Mr. Zhua, are you all right? Did that pressure just now come from you? Wang Longtao quickly knocked on the door, as though he was about to charge in. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and collected the stone fragments. He placed the new statue in its original spot and then opened the door. He said calmly, I was carving just now, but that sudden pressure distracted me and the carving failed. Wang Longtao looked up and saw that the statue was still in its original spot. However, the magical fluctuations of the magical laws of time were abnormal, and the thick pressure had not completely dissipated. He was puzzled. Soon, Wang Zhongjuan also arrived at the courtyard. He frowned as he looked at the statue. He felt that something was wrong, but he could not tell what was wrong. Wang Zhongjuan quickly walked in front of the statue and touched the carvings. The feeling was the same, but the naked eye felt that something was wrong. Where's the statue you carved? Wang Zhongjuan asked curiously. It's broken. Unfortunately, that pressure disturbed my mental state, Yi Qinghan said helplessly. That pressure just now made me unable to move for a short period of time, but there was no aura of life. Could a powerful world artifact have appeared? Wang Zhongjuan was very puzzled. He stared at the tame desolation god-beast. If there was a possibility that it was a world artifact, then it could only be it. Chapter 1298. Wang Zhongjuan thought the sculpture was a world treasure. Back then, there were 8 sector lords and 10 supreme world treasures. As for what a world treasure was, no one knew. Sometimes one might not even recognize it. World treasures and pseudo-world treasures could be born in the world. Even if they existed, they couldn't be used or couldn't unleash their peak power. Extreme supreme experts dreamed of obtaining a pseudo-world treasure. With a pseudo-world treasure, one's strength would instantly surpass those of the same level and become the number 1 person below the sector lord. Unfortunately, pseudo-world treasures were too rare, so rare that they could be ignored. Sector lords disdained to make them, and those born in the world might not be found. Thus, none had ever appeared. Wang Zhongjuan thought that this was at least a pseudo-world treasure, so he wasn't willing to let Yi Qinghan copy it anymore. He hugged the sculpture and left the courtyard, returning to his own courtyard to carefully examine it. Yi Qinghan shrugged. The sculpture just now might have been a supreme ultimate divine tool, but it had already been destroyed. This one was at most an ornament. However, the profound meaning of the carvings on it was real. If Wang Zhongjuan carefully comprehended it and had the opportunity, he might be able to make some progress. Just then, the sixth prince ran over and winked at Yi Qinghan. He whispered, "Sir, let's go to the fragrance pavilion to play?" The fragrance pavilion in the God of Fortune City is definitely the best. Cough cough. Wang Longtao coughed dryly and whispered, "I'll go with you." Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. He could go take a look. Perhaps he could find clues about the organization that tried to assassinate him that day. All right, since I'm bored, let's go see the most desirable place in the God of Fortune City, Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Tong Tong and Little Tong were in the God of Fortune City's Wang family. Yi Qinghan was relieved. As long as the Wang family didn't want to fall out with Yi Qinghan, nothing would happen to Tong Tong. The three left the Wang family side by side and went straight to the fragrance pavilion. At the same time, the divine sect also quickly moved. Most people were looking for Ling Yan, hoping that he would come back to suppress Marshal Yun. The divine sect's Grand Elder Gu Tianfeng personally went to the two major assassin organizations. In the Infernal Realms branch, Gu Tianfeng revealed his identity and frankly said, "I want to go to Infernal Realms headquarters. Senior, please seal your cultivation. We will be responsible for bringing you to the headquarters," one of the assassins said in a deep voice. Gu Tianfeng did not hesitate to seal his own cultivation. The assassin envoy covered his eyes with black gauze, and not even a trace of light could be seen. No one knew where the headquarters of Hell and Heaven were located. Yi Qinghan and Wang Zhongjuan had a blood feud. Even if he didn't implicate his children, he would still destroy the Wang family to get revenge on Wang Zhongjuan. Xue Fei looked at Yi Qinghan's SS expression and was secretly happy. Only then did she relax. "Stay calm. Don't show up at the wedding. You'll arouse suspicion. Plus, the wedding won't be a joyous occasion. As the imperial concubine, the future mother of the empire, it's not good to see blood." Yi Qinghan turned and left. Perhaps it was the Realm Lord's premonition that the wedding wouldn't be peaceful. The streets at night seemed empty. Yi Qinghan retracted his aura and strolled along the streets, heading towards the Wang family. The streets were brightly lit. The inns didn't refuse guests at night. The towering buildings could accommodate thousands or even tens of thousands of people. Yi Qinghan gazed at the Milky Way and the stars in the sky as he slowly walked forward. About 10 meters ahead of him, in a tea house, there was a woman dressed in black. She was exceptionally eye-catching. She had a snow-white face and exquisite facial features. She had almost reached the perfection of a human. She couldn't be any more beautiful. There was no way to describe her beauty. Even if Emperor Yi were here, he would be overshadowed. She had big round eyes, a high nose bridge, thin lips, and slender fingers. She sat by the window and glanced at Yi Qinghan. Her brows twitched slightly as she took out a portrait. It was a sketch of Yi Qinghan. "What a coincidence, to meet you here," the woman muttered to herself. She kept the portrait and looked at Yi Qinghan indifferently. Yi Qinghan immediately felt someone staring at him. He raised his head and looked at the tea house. When he met the woman's gaze, he felt his heart skip a beat. She looked to be around 24 or 25 years old. She was very capable and experienced. Looking at her figure, she was about 1.75 meters tall. The woman smiled sweetly. Her smile lit up the night and made people flustered. "What strength?" Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. "She seems to know me. Sir, the night is beautiful and the best tea. Why don't we have a drink together?" The woman's voice was like the sound of nature. It sounded melodious on the street. Her jade-like fingers twirled the jade-glowing cup. She was like a scorching sun that lit up the street. Yi Qinghan's breathing was steady. He looked at the woman and said indifferently, "Forgive me for not knowing you. A man and a woman alone in the middle of the night. How can we have a drink together? Who doesn't know the reputation of the left marshal? This little girl wants to climb up the social ladder and drink with you at the same table. I wonder if sir will give me this face. The woman giggled. Her voice was like the sound of nature. Many people opened their windows and looked out. Yi Qinghan's eyes twitched. This woman had him completely locked down. She was most likely a paramount expert. If she unleashed a killing move, she could kill him instantly. Yi Qinghan rubbed his fingertips and clenched them into fists. He was on high alert. The Feather Spirit Garment's bloodline had activated 10% of its defensive capabilities. Given his current strength, he could only activate 20%. It would be no problem for him to block the attacks of a peak paramount god, but it would be very difficult for him to defend against a paramount expert. Sir, the woman said with a cold smile, do you dislike this little girl's beauty and refuse to drink with me at the same table? Yi Qinghan chuckled helplessly. If you can't be considered the #1 beauty in the world, then are there any beauties in the world? In that case, come on up, the woman said domineeringly. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath, pushed off the ground, and walked over to the woman through the window. At such a close distance, she was even more beautiful than before. Good tea, good food, and a beautiful woman. I wouldn't dare to drink with you. Yi Qinghan slowly sat down, looked at the woman, and said in a deep voice, You're too polite, Your Excellency. I'm the Assistant Minister of the Snow Empire and the Commander of the Imperial Army. You're young and promising and you're still single. It's an honor for this little girl to be able to drink with you. I thought you wouldn't give me face and wouldn't come up. She seemed very relaxed as she poured Yi Qinghan a cup of tea. How should I address you, Your Excellency? Yi Qinghan was very nervous. This person was enough to threaten his life. Call me Little Moon. You're the only one who knows my nickname, sir. The woman smiled like a refined woman who had just emerged from the mortal world. She made it so that no one would feel any hostility toward her. And yet, she made Yi Qinghan's hair stand on end. Welcome to the subscription family. QQ Read, Chidian Chinese Network, Genesis Chinese Network, and QQ Read on mobile. If you want to make Kuang Wujian more exciting and faster, please contribute. Chapter 1303. Little Yu, a very ordinary name, but when paired with this woman, there was something unusual about it. Yi Qinghan held the teacup and sipped on the rare divine tea. It refreshed the mind and was definitely hard to find in this world. Even the emperor might not be able to taste it. Yi Qinghan said in a serious tone, Good wine paired with a hero, a divine tea of national beauty. In this world, only you are qualified to taste this tulip filling the sky. Mr. is very knowledgeable. I didn't expect you to know that this tea is tulip filling the sky. I'm afraid even the emperor wouldn't know. Little Yu's eyes flashed. Her deep eyes were like a black hole in the depths of reincarnation, making people not dare to look straight at them. Among the 3 great ancient divine teas, the first is the Desolate Tao tea, which is produced on the Great Wasteland Domain's Mount Nihility. The second is the Flying Snow, which is produced in the Nirvana Impasse, which can only be encountered by luck. The third is the Tulip Sky. The Desolate Tao tea is desolate, the Flying Snow tea is cold, and the Tulip Sky is fragrant. All 3 can help one comprehend the Tao and achieve enlightenment, Yi Qinghan said. Haha, looks like this tea wasn't wasted. I've met someone who understands tea. Little Yu looked at Yi Qinghan's calm eyes and said with a faint smile. Fellow Taoist Little Yu, let's get straight to the point. You must have come specifically to find me. Yi Qinghan stared at Little Yu, trying to figure out her ultimate goal. Little Yu looked at Yi Qinghan with an unfathomable smile and said in a low voice, I have another name. People call me the Heaven Seer. This time, I've come specifically to tell your fortune, but it's not free. Yi Qinghan frowned. He suddenly remembered that before he died in his previous life, there was an old man who called himself the Heaven Seer. He told him that in less than 3 years, the Great Wasteland would be destroyed and his father would die. In the end, a year later, the 8 Realms War broke out. In 2 years, the Great Wasteland was destroyed and he died. What did you tell me? Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. Xiao Yu playfully rubbed her jade-like fingertips, indicating that they should discuss the conditions first. Then what do you want from me? Yi Qinghan asked again. At this moment, Xiaoye grabbed 2 chopsticks and threw them out of the window. Whoosh-ding! The 2 chopsticks were even faster and sharper than the arrows. They pierced through the void and shot into the opposite room. Poof-da! Following 2 screams, 2 people rushed out of the room. They looked at Xiao Yu in shock, then turned around and left. If you want to listen, then come to the tea house to listen. It's not like I won't let you listen. Xiaoye's aura changed as she spoke coldly. Her voice was bone-chilling, causing people's hair to stand on end. Chapter 1304. The God of Wealth City was bustling with noise and excitement. The Wang family's front gate was as crowded as a marketplace. Wang Longtao led the Wang family's elders to welcome them outside. Wave after wave of congratulatory gifts were received, but they were all placed together in batches. These gifts belonged to Yi Qinghan, and the Wang family had also prepared a large gift that was probably enough to buy a large city. The sect master of the Frost Sword sect has arrived. Prepare 3 top-grade heavenly spirit pearls. The person who received the gift from the Wang family said loudly. The person who wrote the gift immediately wrote, "Congratulations to the Wang family and Marshal Zhuo for the marriage alliance. Young Master Tao, I haven't seen you for a few years, and you've become even more impressive. The Wang family is full of talents. Congratulations." A big man with a smile and a voice like a bell walked over quickly, accompanied by a supreme god. "Welcome, Sect Master Zhang. Please forgive me for not coming out to meet you. Please come in, I've already arranged a guest room for you." Wang Longtao bowed. Thank you, thank you. The Yu family master of the Yuewang state has arrived. Prepare 2 kilograms of top-grade divine spirit tea. The prefecture master of the central divine state has arrived. Prepare several rare treasures. The gifts prepared by these top forces represented their face and also their goodwill to the Wang family and Marshal Zhuo. The gifts were obviously not light. This kind of wealth was definitely an inestimable number. It was probably more than the wealth of a top tycoon. There were too many forces. If there weren't 3,000, there were at least 2,000. There were also a large number of loose cultivators, top experts, and overlords. As long as one had a reputation in the Snow Empire or the Divine Realm, they were basically all here. Marshal Yun represented the imperial family and the military to send a huge amount of resources and divine spirit stones of the Snow Empire. Concubine Shui disguised herself as a man and blended in with them. No one noticed. The time of the wedding was getting closer and closer. Yi Qinghan was not interested in the outside world, but the people of the outside world were interested in him and wanted to get to know him. In the guest area, a few elders of the Wang family were receiving guests. They were a bit overwhelmed. Fellow Taoist Old Wang, where is Mr. Zhuo? We haven't seen him yet. Is he afraid we'll rob him? Haha, that's right. You've gotten such a good son-in-law. You should let everyone see him. The family heads and sect heads of the various powers all laughed and teased. Some of them had even brought along the most beautiful women of their own clans. It was obvious that they were here for a marriage alliance. Perhaps it wasn't Yi Qinghan, but their goal was clear. Chapter 1305. After being provoked by the divine bird, Wang Longtao, who was already proud and arrogant, rushed to the restaurant with his 2 guards and Tong Tong. Inside the restaurant, a group of people were drinking and chatting freely. What they enjoyed was the atmosphere and the feeling of being flattered by others when there were many people boasting about one another. The 3rd young master of the Heavenly Imperial Prefecture livened up the atmosphere in the restaurant. Many people came up to toast him. 3rd young master, I heard that you won the title of number 1 of the younger generation in the Heavenly Imperial Prefecture. It seems that your strength has increased a lot. What are you talking about? 3rd young master is extremely talented. His ancestor had followed the Supreme Realm Lord to battle. In the entire divine realm of the Snow Empire, there are probably not many who can compete with him. Everyone flattered him. The 3rd young master was arrogant and looked as if he didn't want to be associated with the world. In the entire divine realm of the Snow Empire, there are probably less than 5 people who can compete with our third young master. The last disciple of the Supreme Realm Lord, the undisputed number 1 of the younger generation of the Snow God Sky, Lord Ling Yan's disciple Zhigu, Xiao Xingmin of the Xiao clan, Supreme Independent Cultivator Ling Huanyu, Goddess Sex Feng Xiaoyi, and then our third young master. A young man beside the third young master said proudly. The 5 people he mentioned were all rare geniuses in the divine realm of the Snow Empire. They rarely went out, so no one mentioned them. However, everyone knew about them. For such a ranking, perhaps no one would have an opinion about the top 5. However, the third young master was ranked 6th. Obviously, some people had an opinion. You seem to have forgotten about Hell's Killer Supreme and Heaven's Meng Xiaoxi. There's also Wang Clan's young master Tao, the newly risen left commander, the military school's Saint Zhu Wuxin, and the hidden experts of the royal clan. You've all forgotten about them. Killer Supreme and Meng Xiaoxi are only good at killing people, and they do it secretly. As for that so-called young master Tao, he is just someone who has accumulated resources. He has no actual combat ability. Left martial, such a big tone. This kind of trash is probably not even worthy of carrying the third young master's shoes. The military saint is good at leading troops, but his individual combat ability is not good at all. As for the hidden young masters of the imperial family, no one knows if they have any, so of course, they can't be ranked. The people around the third young master immediately argued. In a split second, some people joined in the debate. Some people even compared the battle between Yi Qinghan and the divine sect's eldest disciple, Gu Xingtian. The restaurant was in an uproar. As he hovered there in the air, the spatial fluctuations were so unstable that some of the peak paramount gods noticed it and looked in his direction. The divine master roared inwardly. "I'll endure." Tian Ke Lei was infuriated. He attacked Tong Tong several times in a row, but each time, he was severely injured. In less than 3 breaths of time, he recovered completely. No matter how severe his injuries were, it was as if he had an immortal body. After an incense stick's worth of time, he still couldn't do anything to Tong Tong. Instead, Tong Tong took the opportunity to severely injure him again. "I'll kill you." Tian Ke Lei was infuriated. He waved his hand and the divine armor on his body disappeared. Then, a 5-colored divine armor appeared, emitting a dense pressure. It was as if a fake world lord had appeared. The Heavenly Imperial Palace's Heavenly Imperial Divine Armor is actually on a junior. Could this third young master be the future successor of the Heavenly Imperial Palace? Isn't this treatment a little too good? This is an item that's extremely close to a fake world treasure. It's known as the number 1 divine armor in Snow Country and the Divine World. Only a fake world lord can break through its defense. He's fighting a 7 or 8-year-old child with such a divine armor. Isn't this bullying? The experts around were all patriarchs or elders of super first-rate clans. Even the weakest of them was a successor of the younger generation. They were all experienced and knowledgeable. They immediately recognized the Heavenly Imperial Divine Armor and couldn't help but discuss it. An elder of the Wang family frowned. He was afraid that if something happened to Tong Tong, he wouldn't be able to explain it to Yi Qinghan. He hurriedly transmitted his voice to Wang Longtao, "Go and help him. Try not to lose. Exhaust him until he doesn't have the strength to support the divine armor. Be careful not to let him kill Tong Tong." Wang Longtao didn't hesitate. He unsheathed his sword and joined hands with Tong Tong. Their aura was extraordinary. Divine light flowed around them, and their battle-intent soared. Heavenly Imperial Thunder sneered. He looked at the two of them as if he was looking at ants. He roared, "If I don't beat you until you kneel, I won't be called Heavenly Imperial Thunder. You can only bully people with this armor. If I can't win today, don't think you can win either." Wang Longtao said with disdain. "A defensive divine armor is also strength. Stop talking nonsense. Take this." Heavenly Imperial Thunder didn't need to defend anymore. The divine armor emitted light, protecting his body. He attacked Tong Tong forcefully, wanting to kill him. aimed at the supreme sword Qi accompanied the rumbling of the heavenly Tao. Sword Tao combined into one. It carried a destructive killing intent as it enveloped Tong Tong. Although he had an undying body, if he was killed for a long time, he would still die. Chapter 1307. Yi Qinghan's every move brought forth the power of heaven and earth. It was as if he was a god and all living things were ants. That seemingly light palm actually caused the Tao of heaven and earth to rumble. Shockwaves spread out for 1,000 miles, and the attack was extremely vicious. It penetrated the armor and hit the body. Boom! Whoosh! Tian Ke Lei was slammed to the ground by that slap. He was still sent flying backward, and the ground was smashed into pieces. He only stopped after flying for a few hundred meters. Tian Ke Lei temporarily lost his hearing. He was stunned for a long time and did not say anything. He covered his face and looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. It's the Zhuo Marshal. What a powerful aura. Although he's only at the early stage of the Supreme Realm, his attack is even stronger than us seniors. Yeah, his attack actually penetrated the Tian Ke godly armor and hit the body directly. A few elders from powerful factions discussed in shock. Yi Qinghan hugged Tong Tong and held his little hand tightly. He said in a low voice, "Tong Tong, it's your father. Restrain your resentment." Tong Tong was evolving into the heavy resentment death child, but he was stopped halfway by Yi Qinghan. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wang Longtao looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. He had attacked Tian Ke Lei so many times, but he could not hurt him at all. He did not expect that a casual slap could send Tian Ke Lei flying so far away. His combat strength was self-evident. Tian Ke Lei was furious. He could not accept being defeated by Yi Qinghan even though he was wearing a supreme-grade armor. Go to hell. The heavenly thunder palace exploded, and a sword pierced through the void. The supreme sword Qi swept up divine might and rushed towards Yi Qinghan. The man and the sword became one, and they turned into a flame to attack Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan raised his hand again. Carrying the power of heaven and earth, he slapped Tian Ke Lei's face with incomparable precision. Slap. Another slap on the face. Tian Ke Lei was sent flying again. Tian Ke Lei roared. His face was burning with pain. He soared into the sky again. The sky was filled with sword shadows. Slap, slap, boom, boom. Every time the heavenly palace thunder flew up, he would be slapped in the face. Furthermore, it was only his cheek that was hit. His face was red and swollen, and he was bleeding from his 7 orifices. This was repeated more than 10 times before Yi Qinghan slapped him back. Yi Qinghan's eyes were as cold as ice. He stared emotionlessly at Tian Ke Lei as his lips curled into a sneer. Tian Ke Lei did not give up. He wanted to kill Yi Qinghan again, but he was stopped by an old man from the Tian Ke Palace. Don't be rash. You're no match for him, the old man reminded in a deep voice. This is impossible. It must be an illusion. I have the heavenly fault divine armor. How could he attack me? The high and mighty Zhuo Marshal is an assistant minister. Our Tian Ke mansion is not worthy of him. The people from the Tian Ke mansion were furious. They waved their sleeves and were about to leave. At that moment, the divine master parted the void. His power enveloped the outside of the city. He looked down at everyone and said calmly, "Everyone from the Tian Ke mansion, why are you in such a hurry to leave? The best part is yet to come. How can you not participate in the Zhuo Marshal's wedding?" The divine master's words were very clear. The best part was yet to come. Things would not be so simple. Although the people from the Tian Ke mansion had been humiliated, they wanted to see Yi Qinghan be humiliated even more. They wanted to take revenge and immediately change their minds. Xiaoye was also hiding in a different space, but no one noticed her. Even the divine master did not notice her. There were no fluctuations in space. She looked at Yi Qinghan calmly with a smile in her eyes. After that, Yi Qinghan brought Tong Tong and the divine bird back to the city. He glanced at Yi Qinghan from the corner of his eyes. It seemed unintentional, but he was actually looking at Xiaoye's location. However, he did it so casually that even Xiaoye was stunned. She thought that Yi Qinghan did not notice her. No matter how weak a realm lord's divine sense was, he could still discover the hiding place of a fake realm lord. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. He did not say a word and brought Tong Tong with him. He was worried and helpless. Tong Tong had become the root of his illness. This little guy was filled with resentment whenever he could not defeat someone. His age and mentality were too young. Who could guarantee that he would not be defeated? Tong Tong also felt that he was in trouble. He felt wronged and kept quiet. Tong Tong, why would you feel resentment when you could not defeat someone? Yi Qinghan asked hoarsely. Because I could not defeat him. Tong Tong replied seriously. If you could not defeat someone, you should not resent them. Instead, you should think about why you could not defeat them. You should think about how to defeat them. Don't tell me that you will only rely on resentment to become a child of resentment. Do you still want to continue living such an ignorant and soulless life? Yi Qinghan asked with a frown. The 5th chapter is about to be completed. If you really like the Battle Emperor, Dodo would like to ask everyone to contribute a little bit of your strength. Come to QQ to support the Battle Emperor Battle Emperor. Every chapter you subscribe to is an achievement. Let mad martial arts become more glorious. I am very grateful. The Wang family definitely wouldn't teach her this. This kind of family must have been instilled with the idea that the family was the most important person in this world. No matter who she married, the family's benefits were the most important. Who told you that your husband is the most important person in this world? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. I think so myself, because only my husband will love me. Moreover, he is the person who will accompany me for a long time. But they don't think so. Wang Yuqing said helplessly. Yi Qinghan was somewhat silent. Hatred shouldn't blind one's eyes. One should also enjoy life. Was it really good to treat a pure and innocent child like this? Thinking about the words he taught Tong Tong, he felt somewhat ashamed. The two of them chatted until dawn. Yi Qinghan had a deeper understanding of this little girl. He sighed that she was born in the wrong family. Otherwise, she would definitely be happy. It was a pity that she was born in a family that had a blood feud with him. Go back and relax. Yi Qinghan said lightly. As the sky gradually brightened, Wang Yuqing left the room in a good mood. Yi Qinghan squinted his eyes and watched her leave. At dawn, fireworks shot everywhere and divine light filled the sky. The wedding had begun. It was lively from the early morning. The Wang family divided an empty space and set up thousands of tables. As long as people came, they could sit at the tables. Even if they didn't give any monetary gifts, they would still be arranged. Face was the most important thing. Wang Zhongjuan personally came out to help host the wedding. There was a sea of people and the table was filled with delicious food. The divine bird and the 6th prince brought Tong Tong and Xiao Tong to a table. Wang Yuru and Wang Longtao accompanied them. There were no outsiders. Before the meal even started, the divine bird had already wiped out a table. As it ate, it even stuffed the food into its Jiankuan ring. Wang Longtao's mouth twitched. The wine and dishes on this table were the best. They were rare treasures that were hard to find. How could they resist the divine bird taking them like this? We can eat, but don't take them. Wang Longtao reminded speechlessly. So stingy? The #1 financial group in the world, will it be ruined by me? The divine bird pretended to be angry and asked back. Kacha, Wang Longtao almost couldn't breathe. He had never seen such a disgusting creature in his life. Its skin was so thick that even a realm master couldn't break it. I can't eat it, but I'll be ruined by you. You're a divine bird with such high intelligence, so how can you do such shameless things without blushing? Wang Yuru snorted coldly. She was very unhappy with the divine bird. The divine bird stretched its head and looked at Wang Yuru with its eyes wide open. It asked in surprise, "Can you see my face? It's all fur. I'm actually very embarrassed now. It's just that my fur is too thick and you can't see it? Shameless." Wang Yuru scolded in a low voice. Wang Longtao looked at the sky and sighed. He really didn't know how to argue with the divine bird. The divine bird said shamelessly, "Sigh, you treat me and my master as outsiders. I'm so disappointed. I'm so sad. I feel bad for my master. He already treats the Wang family as his family, but you treat us as outsiders. You even feel bad when you eat something delicious? Tong Tong, little Tong, let's go. Don't stay here and be disliked by others. Tong Tong and Xiao Tong didn't know anything. They were as pure as a piece of white paper. When they heard the divine bird say that, they stood up and wanted to leave. Hey, divine bird, stop messing around. Young Master Tao is just playing with you. It's okay, eat whatever you want, take whatever you want. If it's not enough, we'll talk again. Although the sixth prince didn't want to go down, he still had to help the divine bird. Wang Yuru's emotions were revealed. In the end, Wang Longtao suppressed his impatience. He didn't want to make a big joke of himself at this wedding. The divine bird seemed to be very wronged. The sixth prince coaxed and persuaded it. In the end, it shook its head and said, "Since the sixth prince wants me to stay, I won't give you any face if I don't eat. Waiter, give me 2 kilograms of spirit deity peaches." Wang Longtao almost lost his calm. 1 spirit deity peach was worth 100 spirit deity stones from the snow world. The key was that it was priceless. Even if you had money, you couldn't buy it because the production was too low. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was wearing a red divine robe. He was elegant and handsome. Anyone who stood in front of him would be overshadowed. Yi Qinghan strolled towards the crowd. The bracelet in his hand was constantly spinning. His divine sense was scanning the surroundings. He was very vigilant, looking for Xiao Yu and the assassin. However, he didn't find any trace of them. Instead, he found a familiar figure. Yan Yunbei actually ran here and looked at him with an evil smile. Yan Yunbei's progress was very fast. His cultivation was sometimes at the paramount god level and sometimes at the peak of the giant god level. He didn't hide his body, but if one didn't look carefully or use their eyes to see him, it was impossible to find him. Yi Qinghan's mouth curved into a smile. However, he didn't look at him. He didn't want him to attract other people's attention. When Yi Qinghan entered the crowd, a faint killing intent shrouded the clouds. However, it was dispersed by the festive atmosphere. If one didn't pay special attention, they wouldn't be able to feel it. However, Yi Qinghan was the one who was targeted. How could he not feel it? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.